So how much does it really cost to fix a chip in your car's windshield? Most of us, we mentally budget for maybe $100, a quick fix. But when you actually look at the total potential cost, the range is honestly shocking. We're talking about maybe $100 for a tiny fix, all the way up to $1,500 or even more for some of these complex modern replacements. And that's exactly why we're here. This deep dive is based on source material covering everything about auto glass repair thresholds, replacement costs, and the really surprising role of technology plays in your final bill. Our mission today is pretty simple. We want you to walk away knowing the precise difference between a repair and a full replacement, and why modern glass has sort of become a secret luxury item in car maintenance.
That shocking price range, it's not an exaggeration at all. It reflects this massive, pretty quiet shift in automotive engineering. For decades, a windshield was just that, a piece of laminated glass to block the wind. But today, it's a critical structural component, and more, it's the command center for your car's safety systems. So the primary variable that really dictates the price and, a potential headache for you is whether you're dealing with a simple, fixable chip or a full-on replacement that needs complex electronic calibration.
Okay, let's unpack that. That dreaded moment when you hear that thwack on the highway. How do you know right then if you need a quick patch or a full overhaul? What's the official threshold that separates a cheap repair from what you'd call catastrophic damage?
Well, the defining rule of thumb is really about dimensions. Small chips and cracks that are under 6 inches long can usually be repaired. This is done using a specialized resin that gets injected into the damage and then cured. The goal isn't just cosmetic, it's about bonding the layers of glass back together and stopping that crack from spreading.
And what's the damage to my wallet for that quick fix?
That quick repair is generally between $100 and $150. And the best part is really the time. Professional services can do it in just 30 to 45 minutes. The technician cleans the area, injects the resin, solidifies it with a UV light, and then polishes it up. It's fast, it's effective, and it prevents a much bigger financial hit later on.
So a quick $125 fix done in less than an hour. That is the best case scenario. But when do we have to start thinking about, taking out a second mortgage for a replacement? Where is that 6-inch line really drawn?
Replacement becomes necessary when the damage goes past that 6-inch threshold or if a chip is just too deep. But here is the critical nuance that so many drivers miss. Replacement is also mandatory if the damage is located in the driver's direct line of sight.
Wait, hold on. You're saying the location can matter more than the size? That seems counterintuitive if the chip is tiny.
It absolutely is, but it's a key safety mandate. See, even a tiny, professionally repaired chip leaves a slight distortion in the glass. If that little distortion is directly in your primary field of vision, say right above the steering wheel, it can compromise your visibility, lead to eye fatigue, or even affect your reaction time. So safety regulations often mandate a full replacement in those areas, no matter how small the initial damage was. And of course, replacement is also required if the damage has compromised the glass's structural integrity, which is a key safety issue we definitely need to come back to.
Okay, let's bookmark that structural safety point, because I think most of us just think of glass in terms of, seeing through it. Let's talk pure sticker shock. The cost variation for replacements is huge. If you're driving a standard sedan, you might be looking at $200 to $400. But if you own a newer luxury vehicle, that's where we get into that $500 to $1,500 range or even more. Why such a massive difference?
Here's where the technology component completely takes over. The glass itself changes dramatically based on the car's make and model. Luxury brands and newer cars, they require what's called OEM original equipment manufacturer glass because it has features integrated right into it. We're talking about rain sensors for automatic wipers, heating elements, or coatings for heads-up displays that project your speed onto the glass. This specialized glass just costs a lot more.
But the real driver of that $1,500 cost, the thing that pushes it beyond just the glass itself, that has to be the tech that makes the car smart, right?
Exactly. The real game changer is ADAS, the Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. We're talking about those features that have become pretty standard in vehicles manufactured after, 2018 or so.
Right. And we keep saying ADAS, which is just that umbrella term for lane departure warnings, adaptive cruise control, automatic emergency braking, all those smart features we rely on now.
Precisely. And these systems, they overwhelmingly rely on cameras and sensors that are mounted directly behind the windshield. You replace the glass, you are, by definition, moving that camera.
So wait a minute. You're telling me this tiny camera on my windshield is why I might have to pay 5 times more. Is this actually necessary, or is it just, a forced expense from the manufacturers?
Oh, it is absolutely a necessity, and here's why. That camera is calibrated to an exact geometric relationship with the road ahead. If the windshield is replaced and that camera is off by even a millimeter, your lane-keeping system could be reading the road lines wrong, or your automatic braking might trigger too late, or not at all. And this leads to the most crucial safety step. After replacing the windshield, those systems must be precisely recalibrated. It's no longer just a glass installation. It's a required, computer-aided safety alignment.
Wow. So we need to stop thinking of the cost as just money for glass and start thinking of it as money for glass plus money for a computer repair. What does that mandatory calibration add to the bill?
That specific calibration service adds a pretty substantial $150 to $400 to the total replacement cost. And let me emphasize, this is not optional. It is a non-negotiable safety requirement to make sure your ADAS features work correctly.
That makes the choice between OEM, the factory glass, and the cheaper aftermarket glass a really high-stakes decision then. Does saving money on aftermarket glass risk the function of the whole ADAS system?
It matters tremendously, especially with ADAS. OEM glass guarantees the exact thickness, curvature, and placement of any mounting points. It costs 20 to 40% more for a reason. While aftermarket glass meets federal safety standards, even minor variations in fit or optical quality can absolutely throw off those incredibly sensitive cameras.
So this isn't just about saving 50 bucks. It's about making sure my lane keeping doesn't try to steer me into a ditch. So most experts recommend sticking with OEM if you have ADS.
For ADAS vehicles, yes. It's an investment in the exact safety features you paid for in the first place. You need that precision.
Okay, now that we know we might be dealing with a half-day high-tech procedure, let's talk timeline. If I have to get a full replacement with calibration, how long do I need to clear my schedule for?
You definitely need to plan for a substantial block of time. The installation itself is complex. First, the old glass is carefully removed. Then the mounting surface is cleaned and primed. Finally, the new glass is sealed with a strong urethane adhesive. That whole process takes about 2 to 3 hours.
And the clock doesn't stop there, right, because of that adhesive.
Exactly. That urethane adhesive needs a minimum cure time before the vehicle is safe to drive, so you can't just rush right back out on the highway. And if AD's recalibration is required, you have to add another 1 to 2 hours to that timeline for connecting all the equipment and aligning the cameras.
So drivers should really anticipate dedicating a solid 4 to 5 hours to the entire process. That's a huge commitment.
It is, but it's so essential to respect those curing and calibration times. Taking shortcuts just leads to safety failures.
We briefly mentioned structural safety earlier, and I really want to circle back to that because this seems like the most alarming takeaway from our sources. This idea of the hidden benefits of prompt repair.
Wow.
Why is waiting even just a few days so dangerous?
There are 3 critical compounding reasons you should never put off a glass repair. And let's start with the one that often surprises people the most: safety.
Wait, 30% structural integrity? That's massive. How can a piece of glass contribute that much to the strength of a car in a crash?
It's not just a window, it's a crucial reinforcement. In a rollover accident, the windshield is actually engineered to prevent the roof from collapsing. Our sources indicate that the windshield contributes up to 30% of your vehicle's total structural integrity. So even a small, seemingly insignificant chip compromises that strength right when you need it most. Second, cracks spread fast, really fast. Temperature changes, like running your defroster on a cold day or parking in the sun combined with road vibrations, means that small chip can become a foot-long crack in a matter of hours.
Which leads directly to the financial reality, right?
Yeah.
The small chip that was once repairable now requires that super expensive replacement.
Absolutely. A chip repair that costs $125 today prevents a replacement that could easily cost $500, $1,000, or much more down the road. Delaying the repair just means the damage spreads beyond a repairable size, and you're forced into that expensive replacement category.
And the third factor is the legal risk.
Correct. Driving with obstructed vision, and that means any crack or chip directly in your line of sight, can easily get you a traffic ticket and a fine. Plus, in many regions, you simply will not pass your mandatory vehicle inspection with damaged glass in a critical area.
So let's get practical for your wallet. What does all this complexity mean when you're dealing with insurance?
The good news is that many comprehensive insurance policies cover glass repair with a zero deductible. This is the single biggest thing to remember. It means you pay absolutely nothing out of pocket for chip repairs. Given that, it's just financially irrational to put off a repair.
For replacements, though, that's where the deductible usually kicks in.
Right. You generally pay your standard comprehensive deductible for a full replacement. But if the repair cost is under, say, $150, you should always compare that to your deductible. If your deductible is $500, filing a claim for a $125 repair just doesn't make any sense.
Right. You pay cash for the small repair to avoid paying your huge deductible for the big replacement later.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have options when we need service. Mobile versus in-shop. I always go for mobile just for the convenience, but I guess I need to confirm if they can even handle the ADS calibration on my car now.
That is a key point. Mobile service is super convenient, and it typically adds about $50 to $75 to the cost. And that convenience works perfectly for standard glass replacements. However, if your vehicle requires that complex ADS recalibration, mobile service might not even be an option. That level of precision often requires specialized equipment and a controlled environment that only a shop can really provide. You should always ask up front if they can perform the required calibration on-site.
And finally, given all this specialized tech we've discussed, how do we make sure we're getting the highest quality service?
Quality assurance is non-negotiable here. You need to look for a reputable shop that offers a lifetime guarantee on their materials and their workmanship. Specifically, the quality of the materials, especially those urethane adhesives, is paramount. If the seal fails or the glass itself is low quality, it can void your car's warranty and, most importantly, compromise the function of those critical safety systems.
All right, let's bring this all together for you. The main takeaway here is to fundamentally change how you think about windshield damage. Fixing a chipped windshield is not some minor cosmetic issue. It's an immediate safety and financial priority. Modern auto glass is a deeply sophisticated system, and its repair cost is heavily dictated by that integrated technology like ADAS, which requires precise, costly, and non-negotiable calibration.
And remember that local context really matters. In climates that have extreme or sudden temperature swings, those conditions affect how quickly damage spreads and how effectively the adhesive cures. So choosing a certified provider who understands those localized variables is absolutely essential for the safety of the installation.
So if your car's windshield is a crucial component of its structural safety and its autonomous driving features, the command center, if you will, what other seemingly simple maintenance tasks are actually disguising complex, mission-critical systems? It makes you think twice before just grabbing the cheapest oil filter or wiper blades, doesn't it? Food for thought. Thanks for diving deep with us.